Welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep with me, your host, Grace and Helbig the First. Today we have Chris Geere. I know, I am pumped as much as you are. You know him from You Are the Worst. He's in Modern Family. He's in an upcoming Curious Pokémon situation. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Also, turns out he is the greatest husband and father of all time. So get ready to fall in love, if you haven't already, with the one and only Chris Geere on this episode of Not Too Deep.
Not too deep, not too deep, with Chris Helbig.
So I love reality TV. I love trash television.
Moi aussi.
What's that?
I do as well.
Oh, we'll get there. Don't
Yeah,
worry. I know you guys have Geordie Shore, which blew my mind.
Towie, Love Island.
Love Island. I have to get into. I haven't even started yet, but I hear it's gonna take years away from my life as soon as I actually invest in it. But no, Hard Knocks is like the closest I get to like following football because it shows like them in their training season.
Yeah.
And they are like children. They're like teenagers, but they're in their mid-20s.
They're early to mid-20s who've been handed everything.
Yeah, and they've only had one focus their whole life. It's just the sport.
And you question how much kind of guidance they've had.
Right.
I mean, of course, taking their parents aside, like how much of their time is spent with people who've experienced that kind of lifestyle, and to use it to their best advantage. Because you see all these incredible players who kind of they lose their way.
Right.
And I think that happens in the acting profession as well. I mean, if you hit a success too soon,
it's your agent calling saying, "Don't get too deep already. We just started the podcast. Exit." No, I think if you don't have someone that has wisdom, that has experience, that can provide you some alternative perspective on what you're doing, that
you get carried away.
Right, because they only know that this is exactly what they're going to do in their minds for the rest of their lives, and that's not realistic.
It's like the sports equivalent of a child actor.
Basically, yeah. Did you do acting as a child?
No. I'm actually really grateful I didn't. Actually, I was. I didn't.
You had a childhood.
I had a childhood. Yeah, I played sports. I went and built tree houses and ran around in the woods.
You used your hands for that. Yeah. You had imagination.
I did. I had imagination. I was into art, and I was into just inventing games and creating. You know, we used to play make-believe.
Yeah, you didn't have internet to fill in all the blanks. You had to create the blanks for yourself. You had to fill in the space between dinner and then going to bed.
Exactly. And that's what I'm trying to. My son's now nearly 6.
Yeah, I was gonna. So you have one son.
He's this
he's
generation, 6. Right?
Yeah.
So he's the iPad that we allow him to have on special occasions. He's watching stuff, which is, of course, we're monitoring.
Sure.
And it's educational, it's informative or whatever, and it's fun. So we're combining all those things. But he would happily stay on it all week.
Really?
If we don't go outside.
Well, because he's conditioned to that, right?
Yeah.
So I remember seeing a video of like a 2-year-old with a Time magazine swiping the pages like it was an iPad. Yeah. Because that's what the kid was conditioned to before it goes to bed. It just is a screen and you move things around.
And I said to him, like, why don't you go and build a fort?
He doesn't know what a fort is.
Why would I build a fort? I'm not even, I've got a bed there. I'm inside anyway.
I have shelter already. Why am I building a shelter within my shelter? Yeah. I'm not an idiot, Dad. Why don't you build a fort?
Tell you what, you build a fort, I'll come and visit you.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Lovely.
Okay, well, this is what I want to ask you about football. I watched the Ronaldo documentary like a year ago, and I loved it. Yeah. But then I showed it to my boyfriend, and he was like, "This is a puff piece. It's produced by Ronaldo. Like, this is insane." And then Ronaldo got his whole tax thing, and all of that happened. Yeah. But that was a person that I was like, "Oh, he's playing this sport like for his dad. Like, he's playing it for like
a legacy."
Yeah. And also he's being a wonderful dad to like his son, seemingly in this, documentary. And so it's insane to me to watch them compete in World Cup, which only happens once every 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then watching all these people rally around these like mid 20-year-olds that are, the pressure's insane.
Yeah. Who in you know, in the majority, they are in 4 years' time when the next World Cup rolls along, they'll be past it.
Right. They're out of it.
So they know they've really only got one real stab at it.
One moment in time.
Yeah. Unless you're Ronaldo, because the guy's smart. The guy's like the epitome of professionalism.
Are you a Ronaldo fan?
Yeah, I think he's.
Or are you Messi? Or are
he's
you
wonderful.
the new guy? I had to write this down because I just saw because part
Mbappe.
of that. No, Loke.
Loki.
The one that just
isn't
won.
he the bad guy from Thor?
Yeah, Loki from Thor.
He's like,
at the FIFA.
He's so good. I think he's in goal.
And then he says this really passive aggressive mean thing about you under his breath, and it's just like very well acted. I don't know, but no, there's a new guy that completely destroyed their streak because he and Messi go back and forth for like Player of the Year, and so apparently some new guy won this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
I missed this. It must have been,
It's
Ronaldo
very
and,
recent, but
Ronaldo and Messi have always been the kind of the ones that clash. I think Messi's an outstanding talent that is, he's possibly the greatest player of all time, I think. So simply because of how much of the pitch he covers. He's exceptional.
He's
but
quick.
Ronaldo has been in 3 World Cups, misquote me on this, I think like 4 European Championships. And there was a picture that went out of him with his shirt off after a goal celebration.
What
and
a
with
stretch for him.
I've never seen so many packs.
You could do your laundry on it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then in some press thing, they showed a picture of him from 8 years ago. He looks exactly the same.
He did.
Now,
Yeah.
8 years of maintaining that. I mean, I can go from quite fit to absolutely horrific in about a week. So I don't know how he maintains that. Like a couple of chicken wings later, and you're like, no, I've got to that age. And apparently, what he does is after each game, he's got a he's got a cryotherapy lab.
Yes.
In his house.
Yeah. So he freezes
himself for a little bit, and then always does 200 lengths in his, of course, private swimming pool.
Yeah.
And then he's got nutrition. He's got all the people behind him to help him be
it's a simple
that.
formula, Chris. I don't know why you can't do it.
Just pay a gazillion people.
Yeah, you just need $1 billion, and then like it's
monitor
easy.
your every move.
It's easy. Did you lose your mind? I mean, because you live here now in Los Angeles.
Yes.
You've been here for how long now?
I've been here, on and off for 5 years. We have a base in England, and then I come here for work, and we're currently looking for houses to make the big move.
To make the big move.
Yeah,
Okay, that's very exciting.
Which is exciting. I think I needed... Well, firstly, we were lucky with the show that it went for 5 years, because 5 years ago I didn't know it would.
Right.
And then over that time, the main thing for me was that my wife and son were happy here.
Yeah, no, that's two very huge things.
Yeah, huge. And that was the main thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would become a life of them 5,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Which I think we've handled exceptionally well. And my wife is incredibly understanding and supportive.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I did a little, internet stalking as we all do. So Jennifer.
It wasn't me.
No, so Jennifer.
I was drunk. What? Yeah.
Your wife.
It is Jennifer, yes.
Her Instagram bio, and if this is a joke, it's very funny. But if this is real, I need to know the story behind this.
Okay.
She's the 2018 Wedding Industry Awards national winner.
Let me tell you about this.
Please do.
Right. Okay. So
she's a musician. She's a pianist.
She's a pianist. She started off as working in bars and things, and then she went and did and then she became a jazz pianist. She's also classically trained. She's got an incredible voice and plays piano. She's wonderful. Played with bands and solo work. Then went into the corporate world, which obviously pays a lot better.
Sure.
Which then leads to the wedding world, and the wedding world is phenomenally large. I never appreciated how big the wedding business is.
I mean, when would you have a chance to?
And yeah, unless you're there. I've only been married once, but I remember the day having a lot of people arranging things for us.
Sure, yeah.
Those people are part of a community where there's so much money and so much kind of bespoke whatever that goes into it, that they've created this industry. So the wedding industry is like the national awards for weddings. So we went to this place last year where she was nominated. We went along for the free drinks, you know.
Okay, so she was playing at weddings. She's like,
playing at weddings, and then she submitted to become a part of the wedding industry solo artist of the year.
Sure.
All the brides and grooms that she performed for, some, you know, I don't know how many loads over that year, all voted for her. So she made the shortlist.
Okay.
We get to Café de Paris in London, Leicester Square. We go there, and I'm thinking it's going to be 10 people sat around going, hello, you do weddings as well? This is great. Brilliant. How was your wedding? No, there was thousands of people there. I was like, oh, my goodness.
You had no idea.
And it went everything from, next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have the award for Best Stationer. And I'm going... Brilliant! This is great, and all the stationers who spent their whole life creating stationery for weddings are going.
This is their Oscars.
This is it. Yeah. And they win it, and they're like, oh, I did it 2 years in a row, like that. And you're going, oh my goodness. And as it goes up, and obviously Jen's being like the solo artist is like, you know, the best actress in a comedy. Yeah. It's one of the last ones.
Oh, yeah.
So we wait till the
end.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a little bit drunk, simply out of confusion at this point. and I'm like, okay, well, here we go then. And she says, oh, it's coming out. I mean, she was very blasé about the whole thing. Sure. She was never super nervous. She was like, this is a bit hilarious, isn't it?
Okay, good.
And she wins. And there's all this other competition around the outside for, you know, other solo people who later will not speak to her because she's won this award. And she goes up, you know, everyone goes, yes, you've done it, because everyone knows each other. They're like actors and actresses that know each other. Yeah, and she comes home with this trophy, and it's now on top of the piano. And I'm like, this is wonderful. I mean, if this is what Jen always says, if you're going to be a wedding singer, be the best in the country.
Be an award-winning wedding singer.
And of course, everyone loves award-winning. That whole world, award-winning.
Well,
you just get work from being award-winning.
1,000%. I mean, I started out doing videography for weddings, like when I lived in New York a little bit. And
There's an award for that.
I didn't win it. I set my hair on fire with a votive candle one time. Some of us don't win awards. But
you're a bit accident prone, aren't you? It's quite lovely.
Yeah, no, someone told me I Mr. Magoo my way through life, and that's like the most accurate thing I've ever heard about myself. But I'm so happy that wasn't a joke. I'm so happy that that's an actual award that she's won.
She's legit the best wedding singer in the country.
Okay, so how does that balance the household now? Do you feel a little inferior?
Well,
you have this award-winning wife?
Yeah, I haven't won an award. I think I won a swimming award when I was about 12. She's got all her trophies all lined up, and I'm like, just going back to America to try and find another one.
Is she still performing? I mean, I'll have her on an episode solo so she can give me the whole.
Yes, get her in an episode solo. She would love that.
I would love to hear about
being in that kind of industry, she can work anywhere. This is one of the main draws why
it's the one international thing, weddings.
Yeah,
it's a very
Who
global
wouldn't
platform.
Love a beautiful British pianist singer at your wedding?
I wish that she just followed me around and let me.
When are you getting married? Let's do it.
Never a clock, but I'll call her up. Okay, so I want to talk about You're the Worst, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't want to talk too much about it because this podcast is all about things that aren't deep and aren't like actually the things that people want to hear about.
Has anyone
from the
cried
guests.
on this before?
I cry after sometimes, but yeah. You know, just check in with myself. It's all good.
I do that in the car on the way home from work every day. Just questioning my performance.
Yeah. Allergies is what I call it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you wrapped completely shooting.
I know.
Have you had a full handle on like the experience? Are you still in that state where it's hard to reflect on any of it because it's still fresh?
I had a text exchange with Aya, who plays my co-star, yesterday.
Yeah.
And both of us are feeling a little bit lost because it is strange.
Because you mentioned before, when you guys started this, you had no idea it would last 5 seasons.
No
You had no
idea.
idea like the audience it would garner. You had no idea like what your lives would end up being. And I'm sure you guys must have formed a very close bond with each other.
We really did. And, you know, it's always so cliche to say, oh, you got your family. But it is, you know, we built a relationship over 5 years. We all came in really nervous and excited and wanting to make the most of this amazing script.
Yeah.
And at the end of each season, we hugged each other as if to say, well, that was a good run. But we know what the current climate is like. The shows get axed, and the actors find out via Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it is these days. So to get the call 5 years running that we were going to come back was amazing. To know that we were going to finish on our terms is the rarest thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, now you have to chase the dragon because that seems like, I mean, crew-wise, cast-wise, everyone that's there must feel...
Everyone came back for the last season. Everyone that
Really?
started the show, crew-wise, and all came back because they wanted to finish where they started.
Oh, that's
And it was
incredible.
amazing.
I'm getting emotional hearing
Right?
this. That's incredibly sweet.
And so the last day, I mean, Desi, who plays Edgar, he was like, it's like moving out of your family home, and you don't want to.
Yeah.
You have to move. You have to move house. You have
lease
to
is
move
up.
place. The lease is up, and it's really, really weird because I wrapped Modern Family in the same week, so it was saying goodbye to these people that I love to bits.
Yeah.
And this is I think it's the trickiest part of the industry, really, is that in-betweeny bit.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you because, I mean, I know being on set, if you probably sit down and you mark out the amount of time that you've spent on set versus like at home, the majority is spent with these people on this show. And the in-between part is the weirdest part to me. It is like the most human part of it all, where you guys now are no longer like going to a job every day with each other, but now you get to like interact as friends and like keep up with each other just in life.
And wear what you want to wear, and you're not in costume, and you're not in makeup, and you're not in on a set.
Right.
You go, well, do you want to go for lunch? Or do you wanna...
What are we like if we get coffee with each other? We're not running lines with each other. Like, what does that world look like?
And it's very strange. There was Aya's best friend is actress Betty Gilpin, who's in Glow. And she wrote this wonderful article recently about the difference between how strange it is when you are working and how difficult it is when you're not. Because you go from, I mean, there's on set you have a trailer and a PA and all these people that are rushing around to, let's be honest, make sure that you're in the right place at the right time. That's what they're doing. Yeah. But it's exciting. And you go, oh, I'd love a coffee, please. That would be lovely. I normally make it myself. Now you're making me one. This is wonderful. Thank you very much. And you enjoy that. And then suddenly you finish and no one really cares. No one's there. No one tells you what you should be doing, where you should be doing, how you should be standing, what you should be saying, all this. And then you have to train yourself to become individual again.
A human again.
A human again.
Yeah.
Because in a way, you're kind of, you're manipulated into whatever the production needs you to be. Right. And as glamorous and lucky that is.
You're playing your part in the system that's, operating with so many parts to it.
It's a business.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, right, okay. So when we got to the wrap party and everyone's there and everyone lets their hair down and we're like, actually, do you know what? Work aside, I'm really fond of you. I really like you all. And that's what was sad, knowing that we're not going to have that massive group dynamic again. Yeah, we'll bump into each other again, and arrange to meet up. But
optimistically speaking, you didn't have the moment of like, I cannot wait to get away from you.
There are people that do that.
Yeah, and
wrap parties are like, I always call it like 11 p.m. once you've got past the niceties, and then they show the gag reel and maybe a little snippet of the first episode so everyone can get excited.
Nostalgia, yeah.
The free drinks, free drinks are flowing, and then I call it gloves off hour, where some dude from catering.
Everyone's on the same level, and everyone's allowed to say whatever.
Never liked you. They said you were a dick. You are. And luckily, I've never been on the wrong side of that. But it's it's
But you get to see people as people, and it's
the truth serum.
Yeah, it's very, very much truth serum. But it seems like, I mean, the show feels cohesive enough, and obviously, like, has such an engaged audience because it seems like you guys have real friendships on screen and off.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that that's ending.
Oh no! I think I've learned an awful lot from it in terms of they always, the press have very kindly always spoken about our chemistry as a 4 or as a 2, and someone asked me once, like, how do you make that chemistry? And people have always said it's something that just happens or doesn't happen. No, I don't agree with that. I think that chemistry comes from whoever's involved really caring about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because if you really care, if you want to be there, if you want to make the best of what you're doing, that is chemistry, right? That's the connection that you need. Like, I work on sets, on films or whatever sometimes, and you can tell when someone's not there.
Yeah.
When they're not 100% kind of involved in whatever they're doing. And that's obvious these days. Cameras are too good. They'll notice.
Transparency and the idea that, like, this is your number one priority, that you're present and you care, and that there's an equal level of caring, and that's like respect on a certain level. Like, I respect you enough to care so much about this project as much as you do.
Yeah.
Well, it's all coming to an end. Wonderful.
I know. Cheers.
So cheers to the next. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, I have some more very deep, hard-hitting, lighthearted questions for Chris Geere. We'll be right back with more Not Too Deep.
Not too deep.
Support for today's episode of Not Too Deep comes from Third Love. Using millions of real women's measurements, Third Love designs its bras with breast size and shape in mind for an impeccable fit and incredible feel. Just answer a few simple questions from Third Love's Fit Finder quiz to find your perfect fit. Third Love offers double the number of sizes that most brands offer, cups A through H and bands up to 48, and with lightweight memory foam cups, straps that won't slip, and tagless labels, you'll want to wear these soft and breathable bras and underwear every day, especially the new cotton t-shirt bras and underwear. But thanks to the 100% fit guarantee, returns and exchanges are free and easy. You guys know me, I'm a creature of comfort. I wear sports bras as if I play for, like, the women's soccer team. I don't, but when Third Love sent me some of their bras, I actually finally found some decent feminine feeling bras that also were incredibly comfortable and didn't make me feel like I had a weird underwire situation. Just go check it out. I highly recommend them. They know that there's a perfect bra for everyone. So right now they're offering you beautiful listeners 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/grace now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/grace for 15% off today. You guys, I think, have an easier lend to an American accent than I feel like anyone that is American, unless they're very well trained, sounds like a cartoon or sounds like rude doing an English accent. However, I do have some English friends that when I ask them, like, what's your American accent? Every single time I've asked an English friend to do it, the sentence, whatever sentence they arbitrarily choose, includes cheeseburger in it. Yeah.
Cheeseburger, hamburger.
Yes.
I love it. That was the first word that.
Is that the first one that you learned to get the
hamburger? And I'm in. Americans often sound like. Beth does it as well, actually, which is go on, do a British accent. It's like, "Cool, blimey!" Like it's something out of Oliver, or Mary Poppins.
Well, I get called out because my friends have called me out anytime I've gone to England that I mimic without knowing that I mimic, and so I'll be like, "Oh yeah," so call me out if that happens during this podcast.
You need to ask me a question with your best British accent.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Okay. What's your guilty pleasure? Right? That's really good. Really good.
My guilty pleasure is hearing you do an English accent.
I literally just got cast on Geordie Shore a second ago, so I'm really proud of that. My mom is proud. I went to college for that. Thank you.
Oh my God, you're from London.
Yeah, I got spoiler. I got cut out of the Harry Potter series. I don't know why. Weird. But no. Now in English, what is your guilty pleasure?
What is my guilty pleasure? Probably cookery shows.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
love
Do you
them.
watch Great British Bake Off?
Yeah.
Okay. Mary Berry?
Yeah, I don't think any British person is obsessed as the American public seem to be. They love it.
Yeah, because your British baking shows, aka Great British Bake Off, seems very refined, seems very respectful of people, and like actually, I don't know, not exploitative in any way.
No,
where
it's
I
just
think
a really gentle, sweet selection of
it's gentle.
people making cakes.
Yeah, and then we have Guy Fieri that's like, rah, rah, rah.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, this is how I got into cookery shows. Was watching, I think he's fantastic, a guy called Adam Richman who did
Man vs. Food. Yeah.
Amazing show.
But you know he can't do it anymore because he hurt his body so much doing
Yes.
it.
I mean, it was abuse of the body. I mean, he would go,
I mean, that's
got a big one today. I'm going to try and do like 25,000 chicken wings in a day.
But that's
and you're
also
like,
the
this is awful. But brilliant.
the most American show of all time.
Yeah.
A man is going to hurt himself with irreversibly physical damage just for the sake of entertainment.
He's lost a ton of weight now. He's doing other projects. He's still into chicken wings, I think. But I mean that's comforting. I think a guilty pleasure should be something that kind of distracts you from your normal life or the broken world as it is. I think the just cooking shows me. I mean,
there's a therapy to it.
There's a real therapy to it. I love cooking myself. I love it. But just watching them, the way that, I mean, you can make stuff or you can make stuff.
That was the sign language. That's ASL, American Sign Language, for making stuff.
It's quite sexy how they get, they're cutting herbs and then chucking them in a pan. You're like, this is good.
Well, it's also fascinating too. I have a couple friends. Sorted Food is their YouTube channel, and they do cooking in London. And they're trying to make a big kind of spotlight the fact that like English food gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of having like a moment, so to speak, where there's like restaurants and Jamie Oliver is really kind of like pushing.
I don't think it's English. I still think English food is all right. I think the multicultural society of London is now so good that the best chefs from
everywhere,
various countries are coming there and widening our horizons, our palates or whatever.
But I still respect that an English breakfast, just beans on toast, is like
good.
The biggest cure of a hangover that I've ever had. So I don't think you guys should change something that isn't broke.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of like the kings and queens of slow cooking as well. There's a lot of, I mean, you never, in 100-degree weather, Los Angeles, you don't often crave a stew or a
comfort
casserole.
food, yeah.
But in England, as it's raining most of the time, if not snowing, you're looking for something that's really hearty. And I think that's where British food is really good. They make stuff which is we're like the head of hangover cures.
You guys really, I mean, I respect, like, London is a city that I would love to live in. It feels like a semi-sweeter New York City. Everyone also knows how to drink there appropriately. They start at 5, pubs close at 11. Everyone's up by 8, ready for their day jobs. Like, it's
true,
a
actually.
fully
I never thought about it. Yeah.
It's an amazingly functioning machine. You go to New York and they're like, we don't sleep ever.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Or I went to Vegas recently. They really don't sleep there.
Oh, what were you doing in Vegas?
Well, we'd finished the show, and it was my best friend's 40th birthday, so I went and met him and his wife. I don't really think you could do more than 24 hours in Vegas without questioning your existence.
Yeah, without losing part of your soul to Vegas.
It was a crazy place. But speaking of food, the food there was incredible. I mean,
they have everything.
Everything.
They
and
do
Los
it.
Angeles, they seem to open a new restaurant every day here.
Yeah, it's true. If you leave your house, you find that out.
If not, Postmates.
Yeah, I know. You guys
it.
have Postmates in England?
Nope, we don't have Postmates. We don't have Uber.
Really? You don't have Uber?
Well, I live in on the outskirts of Manchester.
Got it. Okay.
So there's no need for that.
Right.
And there's no need for food delivery services really anyway. It's like everyone's preparing for war or something. Everyone just buys loads and loads of tins of food and we stay in. What would you like tonight? We got tin carrots, tin peaches. What should we make? What about carrot a la peach? Let's do it. Let's whack it together, put it in the oven. I mean, I think the British society's like scared of of stepping out of their
feeling
comfort
comfortable,
zone.
scared of trusting that things are going to be okay.
Different, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna go for. I really got into Vietnamese over here.
Pho,
like pho, which
yeah,
is delicious. It's kind of healthy. It's great.
Yeah,
I have it like 2-3 times a week sometimes.
Okay.
If I went back home and went, Mum, you need to try some Vietnamese. Oh no. Is it in a tin? Can we? Should we?
Yeah. Has your family come over? Have they?
Yeah, they come at different times. I mean, it's such a long way, Chris. It's such a long way.
No,
that's what they'll say.
Oh, yeah.
They'll say to me. I'm like, it's not really. It's like a 10-hour flight. Oh no.
No, can't possibly.
That's the other thing. Is that mentality of, well, I've got my house now.
You can come
stay
here.
in my house forever. Or I've got a car. Yeah, but you bought your car in 1985. Still got a car. I'm just going to hold on to this car.
See, I like how resolute they are. I mean, there's something really nice in not being so wishy-washy and just being steadfast in what you have.
I know. I think there's a good balance to find where, their generation is very much kind of, I am who I am.
Yeah.
Take me as you do. I'm not changing. No. That's what that generation's like. For all the flaws, that's kind of the truth. Yeah. And then ours is, something's broken. I'm not going to try and fix it. I'll go and buy a new one.
I will acknowledge that something doesn't work, but instead of actually spending time to make this work, I'm going to keep moving on.
I'll get another one. Or maybe it's still within warranty. I don't know. We go to Walmart, get another one.
Well, here's my question. So you went to school for art, right?
Uh-huh.
Like traditional arts, like painting.
No, it was a college where I took subjects that I enjoyed. So I did performing arts, a bit of acting. That's what my sister says, and then history of art, and then graphic design. Okay. So she was like, oh, so you do a bit of acting, bit of drawing, bit of painting. I was like, yeah, pretty much.
So you just went to like child school. You went to preschool for an adult.
I was never really the adult, the academic of the family. I wanted to do stuff where I could kind of express things.
But now, what does your sister say about what you're doing now?
Oh yeah, they're all super proud, and also the fact that I'm working here. They can come and visit if they want to, which is great.
And
I just don't see them that much. Yeah, they love it.
Do they watch the show?
Yeah.
Do they ever give commentary, feedback, positive, negative?
Yes. They have watched the show, but I have to sit there. I mean, because You're the Worst is incredibly naughty sometimes.
That's what I mean.
I say naughty, but there's other words I could use. But it's not great for a middle-aged mother-in-law.
I'm trying to figure. It's for moms, not your own mom, but for moms. Yeah.
I know. That's when sometimes I get stopped by people that are the same age as my mum going, love your show. Like that. And I'm like, okay. Which...
Well, that's what I was going to ask too, is I'm always fascinated about like the worst, or not worst, but just the most standout moments that you've had with someone that stopped you in real life.
Yeah, it's probably, I mean, this is a serious one, really, but I think because we tackled a depression storyline in season 2, and the amount of positive response and openness. Yeah. I think
you start a conversation.
I think everyone's initial aim when it comes to talking about mental health or talking about depression in any way is your first advice is to talk about it. Right. Talk to someone about it. And take away all stigma and just use intelligence and communication to to better your situation. And that humbles me so much that people would stop and go, I had some troubles and your show really helped. And that's like the most rewarding thing, especially from a comedy.
Right.
It's, of course, it was brilliantly written, but it allowed people to realize that they're not alone in any sort of condition that they feel they might have.
Right.
And
that's like the
nice.
true kind of, I think, business of art is to allow people to not feel alone, right? It's like to connect people on different levels, and especially a show like that does have such a strong comedic element to be able to tackle something so serious and just like bring a conversation to the forefront that makes people feel less beholden or less like weighted down with their own troubles.
That's
is
right.
so important.
That's right.
And it must have felt kind of bonkers to like create to act in that world and to like have that weight of being like, I want to make sure that the message is carried out correctly.
This is the proper message. And that was, You're the Worst. Unfortunately, we were nominated for awards, but we never really won any awards apart from one, which was the most rewarding one ever, which was a mental health organization gave us the award for the best television depiction of clinical depression ever. And I was like, sold.
Yeah.
Take your Emmys.
Yeah.
That makes sense to us because we work so hard on that. And I really struggled that season because I'm playing someone who really doesn't understand. But as me,
someone
I
that deeply
totally
understands.
understand.
Yeah.
I'm playing the majority of people who don't suffer from anything in that I'm just trying to fix you. That's all Jimmy was trying to do with Gretchen. He needed to fix her so that things could get back to normal. And when she explains to him that it doesn't work that way, I'm excited to speak to people who have been a partner of or a family relative of someone who's going through something and see whether that season changed it for them as well.
That they could see themselves in your character, that they understood where your point of view is coming from.
Yeah. There's no like bottom line. It's a thing that continues, and our ability to manage that is the best achievement that we can all hope for.
Yeah, I think manage is the best way to phrase that too, because it's not fixing, it's managing, it's handling, it's living with, it's all of that, and to be able to do that but still retain like the voice of the show and still retain the comedy and still like give the perspective that you guys give is like a true testament to everyone that works on the show. I mean, like I'm sorry for whatever you work on in the future. I know you're working on a Pokemon movie. We're going to get to that in a second.
Which is a tiny bit different.
I mean, if we want to go in on depression, let's talk about Pokemon right now.
From clinical depression to acting with tennis balls. Here we go.
No, but I think that's one of the greatest takeaways of the show, that you guys get to like, kind of, and it will take time to really absorb the reverence of like how wonderful that is and the message that you guys gave to everyone else. But let's talk about Pokemon.
Let's talk about Pokemon. Yeah.
What's happening with this? Because I'm obsessed. Do you play Pokemon Go at all?
I did for a short while, and then I realized that everyone else in the world was playing it, and I hate to conform to what's the word? When people
hate trends.
If
basic.
Anything's
you
like,
don't want to be basic.
Let's get a Prius. Oh, I'm going to get a Prius as well. No. I would purposefully go out of my way not to join that gang. Anyway, people are walking around. There was someone at my wedding who was
playing Pokemon Go?
doing that. we were all having the the group photo, and I will send this to you because it's hilarious. There's a group photo of all 150 guests, and my cousin is doing that.
It's just phone in the air,
in the
looking
photo, he's
for
like,
Pokemon.
looking for Mewtwo. Where is he? I always knew about Pokemon. I never fully appreciated the scale of Pokemon. It's
one of the most like long-lasting
largest
brands I've. I mean, it's still to this. I mean, my brothers played it when I was younger, and I was like kind of around it. But even now, my friends play Pokemon Go to an obsessive level. Same with your cousin, and it blows my mind that how long this brand has lasted with the strength that it does.
Yeah. There was one day on set, we were in London, and there was one day on set when all the creators arrived from Japan.
Okay.
And they all came over, and it was like meeting royalty.
All the creators of Pokemon came to set?
Yeah, they came to set.
Were you alerted of this, or this just like...
No, it was kind of written on the call sheet from the day before, and I went... Right, okay. And there's this entourage of, and there's only like 7 actors in the whole thing. The rest of
it's
it is
a very
animated.
small cast, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously Ryan Reynolds wasn't there because he's a voice. He's the voice of Pikachu. So he wasn't there. So there's 6 of us with a group of these people who have created a life-changing franchise, and it was wonderful. They gave us all a gift, and I was just overwhelmed. And it was just like a teddy. I was about to say teddy bear. It's not. It's a cuddly toy of Pikachu.
Sure.
And I got home and I was like, oh, this is really nice. And my son goes, Pikachu, like that, and takes it out. And then I went, no, saved it because it's a special edition. Like, there's only 150 of them in the world.
Whoa.
And we got one of them. So it's under lock and key. I'm not going anywhere near it. But it was just funny that Freddie went, whee!
And also funny for Freddie that Daddy said, don't play with this toy.
Don't play with this toy.
This toy goes up there.
No 5-year-old. No fun.
You will understand that this plushie is important later on. But that's nuts.
That's really crazy. He's just, we've only just started taking him to the theatre, really, because now he's fully embracing movies.
Sure.
I think he's going to have his mind blown a little bit next year when it comes out.
Yeah, so it comes out in 2019?
Yeah, I think it's April or May next year.
That's so exciting. And this will be, will he understand that you, like, my dad is in, like, does he compute
Probably
that?
not.
Yet. Okay.
He's been brought up with the whole, seeing videos of us on the phone or photos and all this kind of thing. So if he sees, I was in Modern Family in England. Modern Family was shown in England. I saw it, and Freddie came in. He was like, Daddy, why are you wearing that? He doesn't understand I'm playing character. He just sees me in different costumes.
Right. These are home movies to him.
Yeah, they're home movies on the big screen. And who's that girl? Why are you kissing that girl? Like that.
Oh, all the very simple questions that 5-year-olds should answer about their parents.
I'll explain to you later, but it's a great job, son. Go into it.
It's going to pay for university. Don't worry. It's all good. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we have Twitter questions for you, Chris, if you will be so obliged.
Yay.
We'll be right back with more Not Too Deep.
Not too deep.
Hello, beautiful listeners of the Not Too Deep podcast. Just a quick reminder from your hosts and the voice you've been listening to, Quack, up until now, that if you haven't already subscribed to the podcast on iTunes, please do so. And also, if you want to do us a really cool clutch favor, go in on your subscription, rate the podcast, review the podcast. It really helps us out. It helps us get just more awareness from people that wouldn't necessarily see us. Ratings and comments and buzz in general are really helpful. So if you're enjoying this at all, please leave your honest review. We love to read them. Leave a rating, do all that fun stuff. Make your voice heard. 2019, we're willing to listen ish. We are back. Yay. Okay, Chris, before we get into Twitter questions, I'm going to ask you the 2 questions I ask every single guest that is on the podcast. Mm-hmm. The first is, who, alive or dead, would you most like to throw cold spaghetti at? Wow. I know.
That's good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, apart from certain political figures, but I won't go there. I'm going to keep this not deep.
Appreciate it.
I would have to say,
And it can be in a positive light. It
Yeah.
can be celebratory.
This
But
is
also-
good. This is good, right? Because I'm thinking of people I've worked with and stuff like that.
You're going through your burn list in your head.
Yeah, a ban list. I would say Gordon Ramsay.
I think we haven't had that answer yet.
That's a new
Because-
one.
That's a great answer.
He's very good at hypothetically throwing cold spaghetti in everyone else's face.
Right.
So I want to see how he feels.
I would love to see that.
He probably
Okay.
complained about the pasta.
Yeah,
Yeah, he would complain about the way you threw it. He would have some upsetting factor to it. Okay, the other question I ask everyone is to tell us your worst pants shitting story or like a close call. But you can only use 3 words or a small phrase. So like mine, for example,
Okay.
is college, university, jogging, front lawn.
Okay. Good. I'll go first date,
Oh no.
velvet suit,
Oh no.
bus.
Oh man.
There's so many textures to that story.
So many textures.
Oh, well, no follow-up questions. Thank you so much for that. I also love that you just immediately had a story in your register because some people don't, and it's a little
I couldn't think of
unrelatable.
cold spaghetti, but pooping myself. Damn.
But pooping myself in velvet pants, I got a story for you. Okay, now let's get into these Twitter questions. Someone wants to know, were there any times on You're the Worst where you feared your character did something that went too far, or that the audience would really turn on him?
Yeah, pretty much every day.
Really? Yeah.
Pretty much every day there was either a speech, either he said something or did something that I'm, kind of going, no.
Yeah, your inner monologue.
But it was yes, every day because something was offensive or misguided or something, and
Sure.
I think that was the hardest part of the role, to find a reason why, find some humanity in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Because I knew the writers were so clever that they were going to explain why he behaved that way,
Right.
Why he said what he said, and I knew there was he says and does awful things, but he's not a bad human.
Right.
He's just the worst sometimes. So there's
He's not bad. He's just the worst.
the worst. He's not evil. He's not dangerous. He's just he just says and does stupid things because he's fed up with society. But I think my main job was to try and find a little bit of softness in that hard exterior.
I think that's so important, especially in the age in which we live in right now and in America, to say the least. So
I've adopted a new thing where I'm really trying to. And people annoy you on a daily basis. That's just life. You annoy other people on a daily basis. That's just life. But if you have an opportunity to try and take a step back and go, is there a reason that they're doing that? Then I think that can make you a better person. I think you can just
investigate.
If someone's right up your back in the traffic or whatever, and they're beeping and all that, our human instinct is to fight back or to hate them.
yeah.
And actually, yeah, some of the time they are just idiots. But sometimes it's like, oh, what's gone on? I wonder, like, oh, has he had a really bad day? What's going on there? I hope it gets better. I don't know.
That's a wonderful philosophy to live by. I mean, if you want to spend this time off in between projects writing a book about, self-help, I might buy it. So just putting that out there. Okay, someone wants to know, if you could live in a fictional universe from a movie, TV show, or book, which would you choose?
Back to the Future 2. Straight off the bat. Back to the Future 2, the 2015 version of Back to the Future 2. Where there's hoverboards and everyone's flying. Flying cars and all those kind of things. I would love to go there. I mean, let's be realistic. It's probably a good 100 years off anything that happened in that movie happening there. But yeah, to hang out with Marty McFly in Hill Valley from 2015 would be pretty dope.
I think that should happen.
Pretty dope. By the way, I say dope now.
Yeah, definitely
I've been
not
in
a dad.
America a while.
Definitely not a dad.
Dope. Doesn't really sound right coming from me, does it? Oh, what a dope lunch.
It makes me just hate my own voice. I have a question on top of that. If there was a reprise of a movie or franchise that you would want to be in, what would it be?
Home Alone.
Really?
Yeah.
And you would play?
I played the father. Maybe there's a British Home Alone where it's all,
Where
we were meant to be going to London, but we ended up in Manchester, something like that.
But also, I feel like the British Home Alone is like, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine. Yeah.
Just let him. He's
Yeah.
got cans and tins. So he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be good. That whole world of Home Alone, Back to the Future, that kind of thing, that's what I grew up on as real, as amazing.
Shenanigans.
Such shenanigans. Up to no good. I love that. All these contraptions and
Yeah. So you want to?
amazing.
Yeah.
Or the Goonies. I'll go for that as well.
I mean, I think all this should happen. Jack, can we put in some calls? Make
Yeah,
this
you got
happen?
it.
A
Thank you.
remake
I'm on
of
it.
the Goonies would be insane.
Yeah, there's an insane cast in that movie too.
Yeah.
Like I forgot all of the famous people in that movie.
I met Sean Astin at a thing a
Yeah?
couple of years ago. We were playing bowling at an FX event, and everything that he's done, and Lord of the Rings and everything. That's the one movie. He's a Goonies guy.
Yeah.
He's the Goonies guy,
Yeah.
and that's amazing. And then look like Josh Brolin.
Yeah,
what
Josh
he's
Brolin. I know
done.
it's crazy.
Yeah, amazing.
Did you win at bowling?
No, I'm heavily inconsistent at bowling, as I am with all sports.
I think that's the most relatable way to be about sports.
Yeah,
You don't want to be the best. You don't want to be the worst. You're
that's
just
it.
kind of.
Just bang average at everything.
Someone wants to know worst Friends character. Do you watch Friends?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Phoebe.
Wow.
Phoebe's
Audible
fired.
gasp. Why?
There's a tricky dynamic here, right? Because
Okay.
I've started watching Friends a lot recently, probably because I've been hungover a lot recently because I've just finished
It's
the show.
the best hangover
best
show.
hangover show.
Yeah.
And I've started from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And I started doing this thing where I'm watching the first episode and the last episode
And saying how
of big
different
shows.
they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I watched Cheers, Frasier, and Friends.
Oh, wow.
And looking at like how the cast has changed, how the production values have changed, all
Mm-hmm.
over these many seasons. Anyway, I'm watching Friends. Phoebe, I mean, Lisa Kudrow is a fantastic actress. She's brilliant. And I love when she's being Phoebe, but when she's put with Joey, there's an interesting dynamic because they're both the kind of the funny ones.
And the quote dumb ones.
The dumbish ones.
The flighty,
Yeah.
airhead
But when they're
ones.
put together, only one of them can really be the dumb one.
Right,
and
who's
that's
the
always
straight
Joey.
man. Yeah.
So when she becomes the straight one,
Uh-huh.
I go, oh no, I want her to become the silly one again.
Mm.
So that's the only one that jars with me a little bit. Is
That's so
Is
interesting.
that dynamic between those two? But I don't think you can dislike any of them. They're like the Simpsons, you know.
But I'd be so
amazing.
curious to watch the first and last episode of Friends because Ross, I feel like as a character, starts like a normal human being and then becomes a full cartoon
Yeah.
by the end of it. Like he needs actual like therapy help by the end of it, and no one is stepping in. I feel like they all just become narcissists.
10 years and no one else went and sat on that sofa in Central Perk. It was always just theirs.
And Gunther, what a career trajectory.
What a career. Absolutely crushed it. What is he doing? Oh, amazing.
So, okay. Someone wants to know, how do you like to eat pickles?
Oh, right. Got a story about pickles.
Oh,
I
go on.
can't eat pickles anymore.
Anymore. So there's a
no.
moment in time where you could.
Our showrunner's wife and I were in New York for an event, and someone had just introduced me to picklebacks. Have you ever heard of
Yeah,
that?
whiskey and pickle juice. And it is a magic trick in your mouth. It makes the whiskey go away. It just seems like you're tasting sour pickle juice.
And when you wake up in the morning, it's like you've been punched in the head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And since then, I can't touch them because
Really?
it reminds me.
The PTSD
It's like it's a
yeah.
sensory kind of like reminder of the worst hangover I've ever had. Yeah.
What's your go-to hangover cure? If you have one. Or
soup.
Soup.
I love soup.
I mean, okay, can I just for future editing self get just that clip of I Love Soup that I can use as the promo for this whole episode?
I love soup. Next up, we have Chris Geere from You're the Worst. I love soup.
It gets crazy.
I mean, because you're mixing it up, you got different textures. And then don't get me started on the accompanying bread.
Whoa!
We're going like a French stick that's been
a baguette.
A baguette that's been kind of heated slightly. Bit of crusty roll.
We're gonna get flagged.
Amazing.
We're
Plus,
gonna
it's
get
really
taken down.
easy. It's super
true.
easy. Yeah.
It's quite possibly the easiest food of all time. It's food put into a liquid so you can eat it without teeth.
Yeah. Ta-da! Simplicity.
I'm putting stuff in my body. Okay. Oh, someone says, as a fan of You're the Worst and Pokemon Detective Pikachu, what would be Jimmy's favorite Pokemon?
Oh, nice one. Probably Bulbasaur.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a big old thing. But also he's quite gruff, quite strong.
Uh-huh.
You know, there was a day when we had to imagine all these different creatures. I had to do so much research.
You did a lot with, you said the CGI tennis balls, like the Iron Man-esque kind of filming.
Obviously, the Pokemons are all different shapes and sizes.
Right, and
So-
I don't even know, and as someone that's grown up around them, I don't know how they equate to like real life. Like how big is a Bulbasaur? How big is a Pikachu?
This is all the questions that we were trying to establish. And
Right.
so, and obviously these things do not exist in reality.
Sure.
Therefore, they're just eye lines. So
Right.
when we're looking at these things, and some are really thin and tall or small or massive
Uh-huh.
or flying.
Right.
So one of the scenes, I just remember the whole day I was literally going,
It's just...
and then a little look over to a castmate to see whether they're looking at the same spot, because you don't want to be like,
it turns out there's 10 of them that they're
Yeah.
all looking at once.
yeah. Oh no! Oh, you're looking down there.
Oh, well, that makes me even more excited. I can't wait.
Just for that scene where the
I want to see the scene that looks like you're having a seizure, but you're just trying to maintain eye line the whole time. Okay, Chris, we've come to the end of the episode.
Oh.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
making time for this. But we like to give every guest that gives us their time a very personalized fortune cookie for
Yay.
being on the episode. So this is for you specifically.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Right. Oh, got to break it.
Sure. Show how strong you are.
Wow, look at this.
Mm-hmm.
What's this one say? I like soup.
I know, I wish.
Okay, and what do I do here?
You can read it out loud if you'd like to.
Fuck off, but not in the playful British way. So it's not as offensive, right? Oh my God, we're sorry. We take it back.
Yeah, what a weird fortune. Wow. I mean, that's just for you. That's our thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Now, Chris, where can people find you online? When there's a show, the last season premiering? When is...
So, Modern Family is on...
ABC.
Well, that'll be over, but that's
but
Modern
so you can
Family's
go
on
back
ABC.
and you can go back on ABC and watch Modern Family.
Yes, you can. Then FXX will be showing You're the Worst in January.
Amazing.
And there's 13 amazing episodes, and then Pokemon will be hopefully in the summer.
Stay tuned, everybody, and go follow Chris on all of his social media platforms because he posts some interesting posts. Also, follow his wife, who will be on an upcoming episode of Not Too Deep. I cannot wait for Jen to be here. Thank you again, Chris, so much.
Thank
This was so
you.
fun. We'll see you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep. Not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated, producer and directed by Jack Ferry.
Producer and editor, Melissa D. Mons.
Writing by Diane Kang.
Production assistance by Katrina Henning.
Post-production sound by Chris Henry.
And an extra special thanks to Flula for the theme music.